Hello. So in this example, we're going to go through using AI to analyze customer feedback data. Let's imagine we have a fictional fast food chain called McDowell's, and McDowell's is getting lots of customer feedback constantly through online review sites, through emails from customers, and they're getting thousands of these things. And they want to use AI to analyze that data instead of having a person have to go through each piece of feedback and kind of catalog and organize it. We've built a little demo that shows how you might do that. And we built it using Bubble, which is the tool that we use to do all of our build for clients. You can also do this using some other tool. You can do it using code. And no matter how you do it, you could integrate with your actual data sources, with your actual feedback. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the tool, and then I'm going to explain how it works behind the scenes. So I'm going to push this button, which kicks off the process of enriching the customer feedback data. And you can see that it's done. Took almost no time at all. And what it did is three things. First, it assigned a rating for each of the reviews. So that's a rating from 1 to 10. 1, the person hated the restaurant. 10 is they loved it. It kind of assessed and said, I think this is a 9. The second thing that it did is it tagged each review with the menu items mentioned in that review. So we can see there's a full catalog of menu items here, and it just said for each review which items are mentioned. And then it did the same thing for dimensions. And dimensions are just different things that the person might mention in the review. And so why is this useful? This is useful now because an analyst can go through and analyze this data further. So they can do pivot tables, and they can say, for people who mentioned this dimension, what did they overall think of the restaurant? Same thing for menu items. And it just allows much deeper analysis. This isn't perfect. If we were doing this for a real client, we'd want to get a lot more granular with the data. So for example, instead of asking AI to give us an overall rating, we might say, give us a rating for each of the menu items that's mentioned and each of the dimensions that mentioned. Because a single review might say they loved one thing and they hated another thing. And this doesn't really tell us that information. But all of that is perfectly doable using AI. So how does this work under the hood? We are actually using OpenAI, and we're using their chat completions API. And chat completions is the same API that powers ChatGPT. So we're essentially using ChatGPT, and we're passing it a prompt for each of the reviews, and we're asking it to return these things. Let's actually look at the prompt. This is the prompt template. I'm just going to read some of it out loud. So you'll be given a review for a fast food restaurant, McDowell's. Analyze this review and return a JSON object with the following fields: rating, an integer from 0 to 10, menu items, an array of text that represents the menu items, dimensions, an array of text that represents the dimensions. So real quick, some key things to note about this. We're asking you to return a JSON object. That just means return data in a format that's readable by software. That's the most common software. That's the most common data format. Then we're asking it to return these fields, and we're including these little tags. And these tags are where data will go. So the possible menu options will go here. The possible dimension options will go here. And the review for a single review will go here. And so if we look at our completed prompt for a single review, this is what it looks like. You can see that the items were included here, the dimensions were included here, and then the review text was included here. And so it's just going to send that 20 times. If there were 1,000 reviews, it would send it 1,000 times, and it's going to get the data back, and it's going to save it across. Along with the review text, it's going to save it in our database. So that's the example of enriching customer feedback data. You can use the same principle for a different kind of data. So any kind of a text data that you have, you could use the same principles to enrich it so that analysts can further analyze it. So that's all I have on enriching text data. And thanks for tuning in. Hope you found it useful. And until next time.